happy to be sharing my insights about explainable AI and how this is actually helping fintechs like us. So I think even before we talk about AI, let's talk about fintechs first. What really powers fintechs? By the very word of being a fintech, right? Your power core is really your technology. That's what it's gonna set you apart from all of the other fintechs and all of them and all of the other financial institutions for that matter. And what does this promise, right? It promises you great customer experience for one. That's one of the primary value drivers of fintechs. You know, serious back-end automation, everything that happens in an instant, you'll be able to open a bank account right on the same day that you apply. You will be able to get your loans, approve your credit cards right right on the day that you apply without waiting for 2 months, 3 months, right? We really want to fintechs aim normally to serve these segments that are not yet being served as well. I'm talking about financial inclusion, and I'm talking about really getting the unbanked and the underbanked right into the financial system. Our technology actually also empowers us to have better regulatory compliance. And the reason for that is that we have a lot of data. There's metadata, which we use so that we'll be able to perform better KYC for our customers. We'll be able to enhance the accuracy, timeliness of our regulatory reports, and really cooperate not just with regulators, but with law enforcement as well. And if the police needs data right now, we'll be able to extract that from our backend servers and just feed them right down. And yeah, the scammers are like right here in this condo right now, right? And they can actually move in fast. Risk management and decision making. This is the fintechs normally would take pride in differentiating themselves by not doing guesswork, meaning that their decisions are driven by data because they have a lot. Now you have data about your customers, you have data about their devices, you have data about what their activities look like, their location, everything is in you. And if you are an ecosystem play, you don't just have data on the retail customers, you have data on the merchants, you have data on almost everything that your customers do on your app. So fintechs are really able to make data-driven decision making because of really creative data correlations and AI. But then, speaking of AI, it actually further transforms fintechs for that matter. What that means is that let's look at customer journey for that matter. If you if you open an e-wallet account, what's the promise of e-wallet companies to you, right? That they will be able to, if you have the correct set of data sets, if you have a valid ID, you are successfully able to do your KYC and your video calls in your app. That's AI. Shutting down the lights on me. I'm kidding. They'll get you in. You are in the formal financial system already, right? No human intervention for that matter, as much as possible. No waiting time customer support, chat bots, voice bots, right? Now, where you don't need to wait. Now, you don't need to listen to a very melodic prompt in your phones where it's been 5 minutes, only to tell you that they need to send to another 5 minutes and still play that melody again until you conk out, right? So we don't want that, and AI delivers that. Hyper-personalization, right? Meaning that there are a lot of services out there, but you don't want to see all of them, right? So there's just a lot where you might want to skip it, or there's just a lot that's relevant to you. So because of AI, we're able to leverage on that. I won't delve too much on the cybersecurity and anti-fraud because we have examples here. But really, what this does for me personally is that I don't need to think about what the attackers will do. For those, can I see a raise of hands who here has experienced writing anti-fraud and security? Writing, like configuring them in the systems? None yet? I'll tell you this. The best security rule is the rule that you made after you've been breached. Because you know exactly what to write. If you don't know what the tactics are, you don't know what to write, right? It's gonna be guesswork. So AI reduces that because it reduces that risk because you'll be able to help at least predict what these bad guys are throwing at you, right? It reduces confirmation error, human bias, and helps us to respond to attacks on a real-time basis. And of course, if you have a very good AI base in your company, which talents are you really gonna attract? It's really the best of class talents. They want to work for you, they want to stay for you because they're able to really hone their skills even further because of the sophistication of the tech stack that you own. So, and if you have the best talents, you get the best ideas, you actually develop very good products and customer service, and again allows you to make decision making, right? But then, anyone use ChatGPT? Yep, I'm sure. Some, right? Copilot, maybe. ChatGPT is not gonna work if you're just gonna stare at it, right? You have an input. You need an input to it, so for it to produce an output. But what happens inside ChatGPT? How is it able to produce the AI-generated images that you want? How is it able to produce the code that you want? Ever wondered what's really going on in that AI black box, right? And that's what we're gonna really spend some time here. Explainable AI. It allows these stakeholders to actually peek into that AI black box. It helps us understand why the AI made that decision. That's explainability. It helps us it gives us insights on the AI's thought process in making its conclusion, and helps us to really interpret and predict how the AI is going to treat a certain input. Now, let's do an anti-fraud example, and this is one of the big use cases that are being used by fintech. They're actually the same process if you're gonna look at the flowcharts, right? The one on top is really about, hey, these are your transactions. We feed that to an anti-fraud decision engine. The engine decides, are you fraudulent? Fraudulent. It's gonna approve or deny the transaction. Everybody happy, right? It's actually the same. If you do explainable AI, except for that green box down there, that it actually records why that AI approved or denied a certain transaction. And why is this important? This is important because you'll be able to know exactly. So let's take a scenario. So let's say a customer buys coffee for 2,000 pesos. Nothing wrong there, right? For a coffee for 2,000 pesos. I mean, the most expensive coffee was like 300 maybe. But 2,000, right? Scans a QR code, but the QR code was actually uploaded in the laptop where an emulated app was running, and guess what? AI denied it. And that's cool because the AI did its job, right? You can go home happy, buy your coffee, and just retire for the day. But without AI explainability, you won't have this table to your right? You won't be able to understand that, okay, 2,000 pesos, that's kind of big for a coffee transaction, right? That merchant is probably processing maybe a 200 peso, 300 peso per item, maybe 500, but never a single transaction for 2,000 pesos, right? That's one factor. Merchant categories, maybe, yeah, it's food and beverage, nothing surprising there. But the screen resolution that was used was like, that's a 1920 by 1080, which is, to the TV geeks here, that's full HD, right? Is there still full HD in the Galaxy S23? That's above full HD, right? So how did the screen become a 1080, yet you're using a phone? So that's anomalous. The AI will probably know that. According to the GPS location from the app, it's in Makati. It's right here in AIM. But if you look at the IP location, kind of weird. How can the phone be in Makati yet be in South Korea? Maybe a VPN. But why is the guy even using a VPN for that matter, right? So another hit. We test if it's rooted. Yeah, we saw signs that it's probably rooted. And guess what? The user registered just today, deciding that the first transaction of that user is actually the 2,000 peso coffee. Very sketchy, I will say, right? And with this kind of metadata and this data set that AI explainability produces, you can make decisions, right? Again, let me clarify first that these are not rules. These are stuff that the AI model actually detected. You don't need to set this up. Because if these are just rules, it would have been easy, right? It's not even AI, it's just rules. But if the AI said that, yeah, I denied this transaction because, yeah, that there's just a lot of red flags in that transaction, right? And these are the red flags. Who cares? Why is this important? It's important to a lot of people. First is that it's important for the data scientists and AI, the ML engineers who are working on the model, right? It's not easy to create a model. It takes time, patience, training, computing resources, everything, right? And if the model is already drifting, maybe it's okay when it started, but again, if you keep on feeding the AI model with production data that's not really good, or it's causing it to behave in unintended manners, there's a concept called model drift, right? Meaning it won't perform in the same way compared to the first time that you actually configured it. So if you have XAI, you'll be able to at least see that my model is kind of drifting already. It's no longer really producing what it intends to produce. And it helps us to continuously improve these AI models. And for business leaders, I want to know that they will actually know, right? Why are my declines in my credit card transactions increasing? What's the usual reason why our AI models in fraud detection and credit cards are flagging such, right? XAI will enable you to do that. So, meaning tweaking the business rules to optimize profits, to optimize returns to your investments can be done with XAI. And definitely, since you have started already on doing a risk-based decision, data-driven decision making, then XAI will actually make you better informed and actually make better risk decisions on stuff, right? Our regulators, we want to know if our models are actually fair. Are we actually discriminating a certain people? For example, if the AI model has been declining transactions just because the phone is in a certain barangay or in a certain vicinity where there's high crime rate, it's not fair, right? That should not be a basis, and XAI will hopefully tell you that, right, if you configure it properly. And it allows insights on, it kind of gives the regulators more comfort that, yeah, you're actually following consumer protection rights, right? You are actually doing what you can to make sure that your customers are treated fairly, and there's no way on earth to say that if you're using AI if you don't have explainability, right? So this is a very important factor, and of course, at the end of the day, you will live and die by your customers, right? If your AI models are actually stopping the reason why your customers got into your ecosystems at the first place, they'll find another. They'll find and if your AI is actually allowing your customers to defraud another customer, that's another problem, right? So there's always a balancing act. You cannot just implement AI to block off everything. It has to be to enable business, to protect the customer, and make sure that legitimate business really happens. And some other use cases here where XAI can be implemented for fintechs, of course, KYC, right? Decisions behind accepting, rejecting customers. Is this a real face? Is this a real ID? Did the customer really spin the face, right? That kind of fun stuff in customer registration. Credit evaluation, is this person really worthy of being assigned credit, being issued credit cards? What's the credit history? What what are the payment tendencies, right? What are the purchase decisions of this customer? All of that, combining all of that gives you an AI-powered credit evaluation that you can actually roll out in a matter of seconds if the if the AI model is great. And because these customers are getting great customer experience from you because of how you powered your apps and your ecosystems with AI, they might not churn, or if they do, at least you know why they're actually moving on to other competitors, right? Are they transferring money to your competitors already? Have their cash in volume dropped by like 90% going into you, right? So there are some models that will at least help you intervene to capture and retain customer loyalty. Fraud monitoring, which we have covered already, and customer support, which basically talking about chatbots, video bots, right? And XAI will pretty much tell you why the bot responded that way, and that's important because have you ever talked to a chatbot? Is it fun? You're laughing. It's because it's not, right? It's really not. I have to admit. But then, IVRS was never perfect at the start either, right? So, once we get to a point where there's better explainability, why the chatbot is asking you a question when you asked it a question, why it went to that, then the developers can actually tweak it and make it better for every one of us. And hopefully, in 10 years' time, we're more comfortable talking to chatbots because of XAI, right? And really, just to sum up, if we said earlier that AI is the foundation of fintechs, well, if you want trust in fintechs, if you want a solid customer loyalty to your company, then XAI, is really something that you need to implement. The hows of it, I will not discuss because that's another class of its own. If you're gonna look it up in the internet, it's just a volume, and it's just a wealth of knowledge on its own. So a lot of interesting stuff here that I encourage everyone to look at. But for my presentation, that would be it. I hope I'm able to share something useful today. Thank you.